in Genoa. It's a superb setting for this splendid Sampdoria club, who developed through the 80s to become a major force in Italy. But today, against Juventus, a barometer of just how much progress they have made. But their team plans have been disrupted by an injury problem just prior to the kickoff to Sreko Katanec. Katanec, the Yugoslav international, pulled out of the team so late that his name is still in the Italian television computer, which provides us with our team captains here. But at number 3, Giovanni Invernizzi will play. Sampdoria are also without their regular sweeper, Luca Pellegrini. 22-year-old Marco Lana carries those responsibilities this afternoon. Well, it hasn't been too easy for Juventus to prepare properly for this vital game. Their difficulty, well, half of the team have been away on international duty with Italy. But they did receive a terrific boost when Roberto Baggio, who limped off against Atalanta 2 weeks ago and looked as though he will be missing for several weeks. But he is back today. And also back Giancarlo Marocchi, who was suspended from last Sunday's win over Cesena. Juventus have the proudest record in the Italian First Division, but if Sampdoria can beat them today, they can move closer to their ultimate ambition, winning the Italian Championship for the very first time. Juventus to kick off. The referee, like Salvatore Schillaci, comes from Sicily, Angelo Amendolia. Schillaci and Italy's latest international, Pierluigi Casiraghi, who made his debut against Belgium on Wednesday in a goalless draw, preparing to get the game underway in a stadium here that Trevor Francis knows so well.
Yes, I certainly do, and absolutely delighted with the lineup of Juventus this afternoon, because there was a suggestion that perhaps they would come looking for a point. But that can't possibly happen with the likes of Casiraghi, Schillaci, Baggio and Hessler all in the same team. They're obviously coming here to try and beat Sampdoria.
Well, it's certain to be an afternoon of comparisons with Vialli and Mancini. Sampdoria set so much store by their contribution, but Schillaci immediately giving a problem to Manini, who just pushed him in the back. And a Juventus free kick inside 45 seconds. Looking for Fortunato there. Sampdoria's goalkeeper is Gianluca Pagliuca. Point separating the sides, with Gigi Maifredi wondering whether Juventus can move above Sampdoria by winning here. A 0-0 draw between the two teams in Turin back at the end of September. D'Agostini. Casiraghi will have unhappy memories of this ground. The last time Juventus came here towards the end of last season was on the day of his 21st birthday, but he was sent off.
Well, as you can see already, it's a marvellous atmosphere here in Genoa. This is the big game. There are so many big games in Italy, but when I was at Sampdoria, the game against Juventus was always regarded as the most glamorous of all. Juventus have such a fantastic following. They're a bit like Manchester United. Throughout the country of Italy, supporters, they travel all over the place to watch Juventus. And there are thousands here today supporting Juventus.
Vialli caught offside. He was left such a brooding figure by his failure to make his mark on the World Cup. A mark that his talents really merited. But since his return from injury in November, he scored 10 goals in 12 appearances. Here's Casiraghi. Lombardo, who was also in the Italy side against Belgium on Wednesday. 5 Juventus players took part. And Lombardo and Vierkevod of Sampdoria. Mikhailichenko, the Soviet Union international, wearing number 7. Hit long by Lana, looking for the run of Mancini. Mikhailichenko quickly getting forward from midfield, but here's Hessler. Sampdoria have won their last 4 matches. Will they be good enough to come out on top in this most absorbing of struggles to win this season's Italian Championship, with Inter and AC Milan, the rivals to the 2 great sides on view here. Very, very hard to predict. But if there is an outright winner today, they will have done their chances a real power of good. Galea, who played for Sampdoria in Trevor Francis's time here, pushing forward for Juventus. Baggio, back from this hamstring injury, working a short corner. Hessler. Here's Galea. Looking to show Casiraghi's prowess in the air. De Agostini. Baggio. It was well hit. Maybe the save a little on the showy side from Pagliuca.
Great shot from Baggio there, and I don't think Pagliuca wanted to take any chances at all. The ball's a little bit slippery due to overnight rain. He didn't want to take a chance by trying to hold on to the ball. I feel he did right there by putting it over the crossbar.
The Juventus corner. Casiraghi getting to it, but there was some pushing. The capacity here in this rebuilt stadium, around 44,000, but it's such an intimate ground with an atmosphere really of its own. That's Mancini. Lombardo hoping it might drop his way. It has done. It was a chance for Sampdoria. The danger not over yet for Juventus, but the referee has blown now.
It certainly was a good chance for Lombardo. It was a bad mistake by, I believe it was De Agostini in the Juventus defence. And Lombardo should have done better. I've said many times that if Juventus do have a weakness, I feel it's in defence, and they've certainly put the emphasis on their attacking policy today with the 4 players that I mentioned before, Hessler, Schillaci, Baggio and Casiraghi. They've certainly made a positive start. With Mancini and Vialli in such good form, they have to be careful at the back not to concede.
Vierkevod still caught consoling, having conceded the foul, and Juventus took the free kick quickly. This is Hessler. Well, he got it in with plenty of pace, but too close to the goalkeeper. Mikhailichenko. Lombardo. Good running outside to Hessler by De Agostini. It's a teasing one, and it very nearly got through to Casiraghi. Manini complaining perhaps to Pagliuca that the goalkeeper should have come. Well, he did that time.
Well, it's a teasing sort of ball from Hessler, quite an intelligent ball, played in behind Manini. It's a good job he got his foot to it because Casaraghi was coming in behind.
Julio Cesar drops off Mikhailichenko. Here's Mancini, taking two with him, still getting in the cross. Vialli really trying to climb at the far post. And the ball has gone out of play. It's a corner to Sampdoria. Mancini and Vialli trying to conjure something from it. Oh, and a free header for Bjerkevold. Well, he came in unattended at the near post. And Juventus didn't have anyone picking him up.
I'm sure that Mike Frady there would have been very disappointed with the defence there because no one was marking Vieira as he stole in on the blind side there, and really it was a free header, and I'm sure that Vieira would have expected to have done better.
Hessler, who's not yet scored for Juventus. Sampdoria didn't get it away very far. Here's Sejati, who was disappointed with Hessler's show of individualism a moment or two ago. And down goes Mikhailichenko. That will be a free kick.
Just mentioned there Thomas Hessler, but it makes a change really, Martin, that normally on this programme we're always praising the foreign players such as the Van Bastens, the Maradonas and the Hullits. But really today's game, although there is Hessler and there's Mikhailichenko and there's Julio Cesar, today's game is about the home-based Italians. The likes of Casaraghi, Sejati and Baggio on one team. And of course Mancini and Vialli on the other side.
Sampdoria do have the now 35-year-old Toninho Cerezo, the Brazilian, as one of their substitutes today. He's been out of the league side since the end of October through injury. But it's Mancini combining with Vialli. And it's Sampdoria's turn to chase back and try and stop this flowing Juventus attack here. They've done so only through Lana being penalised on Marocchi.
And the other point is, of course, that Sampdoria are without Katanic, their Yugoslavian international. So, although both teams are allowed three foreigners, in fact, on today's game on display, we only have three foreigners in the game.
And it's a most compelling game. It's not a great angle for Baggio to go the direct route, but you never know. For Casaraghi on the far post, and Sampdoria were concerned enough to have a player as well as the goalkeeper on the line as Baggio shaped up to take the free kick. Here's Hessler. Oh, and it was Baggio who was very nearly presented with a chance by Vialli, who steered the ball off his chest where he hoped Pagliuca would be. He got there, but it was mighty close.
Yes, he certainly took a risk there, Vialli, and I don't think you would have seen a defender doing that.
Dossena. Mancini finding space by lurking wide on the right. And whipping in the cross to Curry, hesitating. Here's Mikhailichenko. magnificent cross, and although Taccone was uncertain, you can't blame him really. It was so teasing. Mikhailichenko had the chance.
Yes, it was a great cross. That's why Mancini is so unpredictable. We've just seen prior to that a corner which he kicked into the crowd. He completely wasted a free kick, put it into Taccone's hands. But there, that was a magnificent free kick which caused Taccone all sorts of problems.
And from the replay behind the goal, you saw for an instant that Mikhailichenko actually had a part of the goal unattended to aim at by the far post as we look from this angle. But in dragging it a little more towards the centre, there were bodies in the way. It's a game of fast tempo and excellent technique. Sejati with those expressive eyes. Mikhailichenko, Mancini, they needed an extra man then. Vialli was late on parade. Viekavon. It's a free kick against Vialli, who was losing the chase and pushing. And Maifredi, very animated, feeling perhaps that Juventus, who began the game well enough and were playing to the strengths of this attack-minded formation, whether they were settling back or being pushed back by Sampdoria, the end product has been the same. A better spell from the home side. Mikhailichenko. Vialli. Trying to make an angle for Dossena. Here's Hessler. Baggio with 11 goals this season, and incidentally a birthday tomorrow. He'll be 24. Mancini chasing against Julio Cesar. No penalty. He got into the area here and seemed to settle for going down when he was actually ahead of the defender. And Angelo Amendolia said no for Sampdoria.
Well, quite clearly here, Mancini is looking for the penalty. Is that inside? Because I think he was slightly nudged by Julio Cesar, possibly just on the line, but the referee has decided not to give it.
Baggio. This is Gallia, and one that Casaraghi looked at with great interest as the cross came in. He was very well marked indeed by Manini. Gallia, who was a Sampdoria player between 1983 and 1986. With a throw that was the last act of the half. It's a half that began well for Juventus, who've come here really with all their talents on show. Casiraghi complaining that he hasn't been treated fairly by referee Amendolia. But Sampdoria got stronger as the half wore on, with Vialli and Mancini beginning to put things together. Here are the statistics of the first half: 3 corners apiece, 9 shots, and as you can see, more from Sampdoria, and they came in the later stages of the half. A good chance for Mikhailichenko after Mancini had whipped the ball across the face of the goal. But at half-time in Genoa, it's Sampdoria 0, Juventus 0. Cross to the dugout with no doubt about the talking point at half-time, the incident involving Mancini and Julio Cesar. They've been playing around with the incident on the Italian television coverage, and I think it proved quite conclusively, if there was a foul, it was outside of the area, although Mancini toppled into it. Sampdoria, who have been in league competition, a nearly team over the past few seasons, 6th, 4th, 5th and 5th the last 4 years. In second place at the moment, it could be their chance. But Juventus have ambitions of their own. To have gone since 1986 without really challenging for the title is very poor by their exalted standards.
Yes, there's still this great feeling in Italy that Sampdoria are still regarded as one of the provincial teams, and because of this, they're not quite the favourites for the championship. The likes of Juventus, Inter Milan and AC Milan will always be firmer favourites than Sampdoria. I think the last team, so-called provincial team to win it was back in 1985 when Verona won it. It was when I was playing in Italy, and two of the finalists then on view for Verona were Elchiar and Brigo.
Yes, Preben Elchiar, who's in the stadium here today. We should also say, of course, that Napoli hadn't won the championship until Maradona arrived, so maybe Mikhailichenko can have those plaudits poured upon him if in his first season as a foreign player he can steer or help steer Sampdoria to the title for the first time.
Yes, I certainly feel that was a good signing by Mantovani, the Sampdoria president. But as I mentioned before, they do need the other two finalists back as quickly as possible, Katanec and Cerezo. It's important that you make full use of the allowance of 3 foreign players.
Lana takes the free kick. Mancini and Invernizzi. Bari. Casaraghi doing the chasing, hoping for a slip. It has been difficult for Casaraghi and Schillaci.
Yes, I think that although the two of them have been a bit disappointing during the first 45 minutes, I think it's also fair to give credit to the two markers. That's Bieco, who's been marking very well Schillaci, and Manini, who's been doing a great job on Casaraghi. We're always too quick to criticise front players when they're not playing well, but we don't give the credit that's due to the defenders, because as we've seen so many times in Italy, they really are experts at defending.
Schillaci coming deep to get involved. Hessler was slightly wrong-footed, but he recovered. And Schillaci made something of that. When it was clear he wasn't going to get the ball, Riekabod, who came across him. And the free kick given 3 minutes into the second half to be taken by Thomas Hessler. Was Schillaci coming in at the near post. It's a favourite area for him, but how badly he needs a goal. He hasn't scored since mid-November when he got a hat-trick against Roma. Vialli had veered away to this near side to make himself available for Mancini. Vialli had kept on running to the right. Mancini was looking in the opposite direction. Juventus with a mostly zonal marking system. as Sampdoria have been going man for man, as Trevor's been saying. And here is Mancini with a lot of space, a lot of control, and that's got to be a penalty. Absolutely no doubt about that. Once he turned here, Lupi was in trouble, and Gallia came in from behind. And the referee was very close to it. And Juventus paying the price for Mancini getting away in the first place. And Gianluca Vialli puts the ball on the spot. And Gallia, and a happy return to this ground that he knows so well. But the job is still to be done. And both Vialli and Mancini have less than perfect penalty records for Sampdoria. Tacconi tries a bit of kidology here and delays and maybe stretches the nerves for Vialli. This to give Sampdoria the lead. Yes! Tacconi went the right way, but it was right in the corner. A little smile passes across the lips of Trevor Francis.
Yes, firstly I have to agree with the referee. It was most definitely a penalty. Top marks for Vialli there, because he was put under tremendous pressure by the time wasted from Tacconi. But he was very cool and struck it extremely well into the far corner, giving Tacconi no chance.
So Vialli takes his total to 11, and 13 games he's played since coming back from an injury. And of course, part of his World Cup agony was missing a penalty for Italy. But he didn't miss here at a crucial time against Juventus. Here's Casiraghi. It's a fine cross, in that it took out the last defender. It was very awkward for Baggio, even with the range of skills at his disposal.
Tremendous crossfield pass by Casiraghi, and if Baggio looks at that again, I'm sure the next time he had that sort of chance, he would have brought it down with his left foot and had two touches. He tried the left foot volley, and obviously it was the wrong selection.
Mikhailichenko. Well, we can hardly say that Juventus have got to change their approach, because they've picked a team to score goals here. What those players, those attacking players, have got to do is to get into the game on more frequent occasions. And a little bit of eyeballing here between Hessler and Invernizzi. Mancini. Gallia. Well, it's an anthem of triumph that we're hearing from the Sampdoria spectators that Trevor might understand a little better than I do. But they'll be worried as Juventus force a corner.
Well, already you get the feeling that with that goal going in for Sampdoria, it's had the necessary effect on Juventus. Which certainly now appear to be playing with a lot more purpose, determined to get the equaliser as soon as possible. But it was, in many respects, a bad goal for Juventus, because Mancini lost the opportunity to shoot with his left foot, came back inside, and Lupi, I'm sure, had it covered, but it was a rash challenge from Gallia.
This is D'Agostini. Oh, and Pagliuca. Sejati. Return quickly. Sejati did well to get to it. Hessler's corner, and that was Fortunato coming in. He was a scorer last week in the Juventus victory against Cesena.
Yes, just referring to that header there by Sejati. It was a tremendous leap, and despite the fact that he hasn't been scoring goals of recent weeks, he's still a constant threat to the Sampdoria defence, because he keeps looking for the ball in the danger areas, and he certainly has his fair share of attempts at goal.
And although he hasn't scored for Italy since the World Cup, he was highly praised for his midweek performance in the friendly against Belgium. Vialli left alone to chase this one. De Agostini. Too tight on the far side. Well, it's the time where the coaches are called upon, and it's Casiraghi who's coming off, and Carini, who's a midfield player who has had a run in the side recently. He's the replacement. The halfway point in the second half. Juventus trailing Sampdoria by 1-0. And Trevor Francis, what do you make of that change?
Well, I think it emphasises the point that we were making earlier, just how well Manini's played at the centre of the Sampdoria defence. He's played that well that he's removed Casiraghi from the frame. But I think with Juventus now pushing forward in search of his equaliser, I'm afraid he's a little bit concerned that Sampdoria are going to catch him on the break. So he's tried to consolidate the midfield by bringing Carini into it.
It's a long way to get to the dressing room. If you don't know this ground well, you tend to come off to the dugout, because that's where the boards are held up, but the dressing rooms are on the other side of the ground. Casiraghi has made his way there. Vialli making it uncomfortable for Lupi. Wondering whether the last touch might have been off the Juventus number 3. The linesman didn't see it that way. Frustration on the Juventus faces at the moment.
The Sampdoria team are certainly making it difficult for Juventus. They're doing so much hard work. They're pressing very, very quickly, not letting Juventus settle at all on the ball. And I think we have to give a lot of credit here to Boskov, the manager, who's done a marvellous job since he's come to Sampdoria.
Yes, the Yugoslav-born Boskov, who's plied his trade all over Europe.
There are fears in Genoa that at the end of the season they may possibly lose Boskov. I know he's been linked with Real Madrid and also with Napoli.
This is Lombardo trying to give sanctuary to Sampdoria with a 2-goal lead.
It's the feel that he may be asked to go down to Napoli to replace Bigon, but I think that there'll be a lot of sad Sampdoria supporters if that was to happen, because, as I say, he's certainly done a great job here.
Here's Carini. This is a chance for Juventus. Sejati tried the shot. It's out with Hessler. De Agostini. And he wanted to keep going when he might have gone down for a free kick. Marocchi came behind Sejati and keeps making those runs in there, and surely the ball will come right for him soon. 10 minutes to go. Carini's cross. And it's Sampdoria Sampdoria's turn to give away a free kick rather unnecessarily, and it was maybe Mancini's lack of defensive expertise that was really responsible for that. Manfredi using the stoppage to consider another change in terms of Paolo Di Canio.
Yes, I think he's just waiting to see if, I think, is that Lupi on the floor there who's receiving treatment? I think he's just waiting to see if he's fit enough to continue playing.
This was the ball by Mancini on Marocchi. To go, plus the time to be added on for this stoppage plus the others. Manfredi might have to have a rethink, certainly about who to take off.
I think it'll probably be Fortunato if he takes anyone off.
Promising time for Juventus. That's Hessler, and he went the direct route. Pagliuca had the near post covered, and again he showed that technique of battering the ball away. And still Schillaci is all gestures of frustration. And he's told to cut it out. The ball came to him quickly, but he knocked it to the side rather than into a position where he might have been able to have the shot.
Yes, I think he's a little bit annoyed because the linesman is flagged for offside.
But even so, if it hadn't been offside, he hadn't dealt with it in the sharpest of manners. It was a stretch to get there, but it was a tense stretch in keeping with his current situation. But it's his pass. Di Canio couldn't keep it in play in his endeavours to make an imprint straight away. Parry with the throw. Sampdoria getting closer and closer to what would be a prestigious victory. It only counts for the 2 points, but for morale, it's a fantastic boost for them in this four-cornered fight at the top of the table. But it's not achieved yet. 7 minutes and stoppage time to go. Conceded the penalty that produced the difference between the two teams. Hessler. Now Galea. Juventus trying to get in a decent cross. Galea prevented from achieving that by Dossena's vigilance. Mikhailichenko urging himself forward to Mancini's return pass. Just trying to use his body to kid Carini. Boskov is really like the conductor of the orchestra out there now, trying to keep the tempo going.
He's such an important player, Mikhailichenko, for Sampdoria. I think he's the type of player that every manager wants to have in his midfield. As you say, he's literally everywhere.
And you heard a reaction around the ground. I'll tell you about that in a moment. News from other parts that Roma have equalised against Inter with Rizzitelli the scorer. Mancini. I'm not sure that he was tripped. And the referee ordered him to go on. prevent Sampdoria going top. Sejati, great play from him, and they went into that near post, and no one coming in on the far side. And that was as nervy a moment really as Sampdoria have had. Here's Mancini. Lupi left his leg out, but Sejati showing that he is not just a goal scorer, but he is a capable provider as well. And Maifredi feeling that Sejati didn't have the right sort of support in the centre. That could have been the chance to equalise. Julio Cesar with the sort of urgency that Juventus need in abundance now. Senna came back alongside him and just nudged him down. Kessler trying to take the free kick quickly, but not from the right place. And still Sampdoria waiting to make the change. It's something that coaches often do. It does take a few seconds at the latter stages. And it does disrupt the opposition. It makes them wait when that's the last thing they want to do. Ivano Bonetti, formerly with Juventus in the mid-80s, and Dossena knows the quick route to the tunnel.
I think he's going to dress room, Martin, to put the champagne on ice.
Well, they haven't earned it yet. Julio Cesar. Sejati will go for this one. And Mancini didn't want to just boot it away. He thought about it, he saw Vialli. And it's controlled Sampdoria progress. Mancini quickly up to help Vialli. Very nearly giving Bonetti a chance with his first impact on the game.
Was good intelligent play there from Vialli, because he had the opportunity to play the ball through the centre for a colleague who was making a good forward run. But he did the right thing. He kept possession, took it out to the touch line, and there was no danger there for Juventus of winning the ball from him.
Lombardo. Sampdoria very, very close now. And it's hard to get the ball off them when they're brimming with confidence and optimism that this position will obviously have given them.
Yes, it's good play from Sampdoria. They're just keeping possession, keeping the ball in an area where Juventus can't mount an attack.
Oh, and Pagliuca panicking. Quite unnecessary. The ball would have run on into his hands, but instead he couldn't wait. And the kick only went a couple of yards before it was blocked. Mannini, who hasn't panicked at all, and has been one of the stars of this Sampdoria show.
Yes, he's been outstanding there. You see there the importance of anticipation there, getting in front of Sejati. Good defending.
We've had an extra coming up for 90 seconds. Well, we came here to praise the might of Mancini and Vialli, to look at Mikhailichenko, but the players behind them have really built the platform for this Sampdoria success. Of course, to win a game you've got to have your talented players involved at some stage, and Mancini went down for the penalty, which Vialli scored to win Sampdoria a very, very important 2 points. We'll have to wait to find out whether it takes them to the top of the table. Juventus certainly can't be faulted for the way they approached the game in the team that was picked, but Maifredi will look back and wonder how much Sampdoria's success was down to the quality of the opposition, and particularly the defending. I'm sure he would recognise that, and how much his players weren't quite good enough on the day. Those statistics there suggest that Juventus had considerably more possession. I've come over the past few weeks to doubt their accuracy in truth. But Sampdoria got it right. Boskov has another triumph to his name. So a great day for Sampdoria. They've beaten Juventus by 1-0.